Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Warframe Ninja podcast. I'm your host, British Bob, and today I have with me Ramus.
Hey guys, been looking forward to it.
And making a long-awaited return is River Rat.
Hello.
Wake up, Tenno!
Just before we start, quick shout out to AM Bunny over on the forums for his devstream overview. It's a brilliant overview of the devstream. And also just a quick advert for the clan we're all in. We're all from Angels of Death. You can find us on the Warframe Forums or on our site, clanaod.net. And with that, let's get on to some interesting stuff. So, patches.
Woohoo!
Everybody loves patches, new stuff.
Patches are always good.
So the first thing that we had really was the new melee weapons, the twin Baslock.
Basilisk is easier to say.
It's
So I've been calling them.
Basilisks. Anybody use them?
I've been using them. I heard that me being just be back, I might be rusty on a lot of this stuff, but I have used all the new stuff that's come out since I've been away, and I saw that there was a lot of negative points on, or negative views on the Basalts. Me personally, having them fully modded out and with a couple different build tries, they're actually not too bad. They're not going to be your N tier melee weapon like a Galatine or a Dragon Nakana, but they're a really good kind of CC weapon. Their spin damage is up there close to where the Cronin are, so they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, I leveled mine up to 30. I didn't use them too much, but I mean, as far as how they look, I really like them. The way they are held is a little odd, but I don't really know. There was a lot of people kind of negative about how they looked also, and I don't know, I thought they were kind of cool myself.
I mean, they're axes, aren't they? In your face,
Yeah.
sort of. I quite like the fact the heat. Like, we don't really have too many heat weapons, and
Yeah, it's
45 base damage is not bad.
The heat dagger and the heat swords, and then you have the Sylvan Aegis, which isn't really anything to brag about. So these are, I think, by far the best heat damage melee weapon.
I am slightly confused as to why they use an Atmos as part of the blueprint building process,
But just for some rough stats, with the build that I currently have on it, 3,900 spin attack, 360 heat, 302 viral with 70% status chance. So, I mean, as a CC elemental type melee weapon, they work very, very well. I don't have any complaints.
So they're not top tier, but not far behind either.
Yeah, they were working okay in Tower 3 survivals. They had a fall-off point at about 30 minutes in, but that's not too bad for a mid-tier weapon.
So, yeah, if you go in survivals, you tend to go in for just 20 minutes, don't you? And
Having the viral damage on it really helps to get that to proc and instantly have the health of whatever you're hitting. Really helps out with getting them down quickly with them. It's just, they're a little slow, but I do have Spoiled Strike on there, so I don't know, you deal with it, I guess.
So the other weapon, fire weapon, that got changed in the early patches of the week with the Ignis, got quite the rework.
What they do, it was, before it was 10 heat damage, I think before.
About that. So they've tripled the damage, and it's got a ridiculous range on it now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention was the range. I don't have it yet, but I played in a few rounds with people who did, and it was going pretty much from like the center of the map defense void to the end of the map.
To give a rough idea, range-wise, I've been using it a lot in ODD, and without a firestorm on it, if you're standing on top with a cryopod, it'll reach down the downstairs almost all the way to the second set of stairs to go down to the third lower level. So it has quite a bit of range.
I think they said in the patch notes it also had an increased innate multi-shot, 2 meter punch through, and increased clip size and ammo capacity. So quite a bit reworked.
Yeah, and the base damage update was huge.
And it's also no longer a Carter.
Yeah, it's more like a flamethrower, I guess, heavy machine gun. Lots of ammo.
I had fun with my Ignis when I was leveling it, and that was with the really crappy damage. and I've not gone back to it because it's I have different weapons for that sort of range.
Yeah. In terms of what it would, I guess, what it would replace or what it would be good in place of, job wise, I've dropped the rest of my Toncore for me kind of not using it to completely just not even bothering using it because this has completely replaced it. In terms of just like the AoE clear, I think this does a better job and it's a little bit easier to use and has a better hitbox than the Toncore does.
Well, I can see with that range and the 25% status chance, with blast damage, this is probably quite a useful weapon.
Yeah, it's also very hilarious to send stuff flying.
I can also see it being very annoying in the dojo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a quick tip for that weapon as well, since we're there and have it up. I would personally go viral damage with it. It works very, very well with all factions, even in the void. Because cloned flesh, regular flesh are both weak to viral, and then heat is really good for infested. So just with the viral heat build, it works very, very well. And I keep seeing a lot of people put more than 100% status a second on there. Keep in mind, status a second doesn't work like crit chance. Once you hit 100, it's capped out, so it doesn't do anything extra past that. So I would have a tip of going anywhere in the range from 70% status a second, which is what I have, to 100. I wouldn't go anything past that.
Pretty good, pretty good. So moving on to a few fixes they made, because they were quite hilarious. They broke Banshee in one of the patches. 17.8 they broke her. It was great fun whilst it lasted. So for those of you who don't know, what they specifically did was Banshee's number 2 ability, Sonar, creates weak points on the enemies. With one of her augments, Resonance, you can shoot these weak points and it then procs another sonar from where the enemy is. So what they broke was the fact that Resonance had no cooldown. Doesn't sound too bad until you remember that sonar weak points can stack. So what you'd do is you'd proc a Resonance and it'd go out, fine, no problem. Somebody else would proc one, it'd go out, fine, no problem. And then after 2 or 3 they start stacking, and then they start multiplying out, and you start getting 3 or 4 going off at a time.
And then 5 and 6 and 7.
5 and 6, yeah. And
you hit a big wave. Hit a big wave of enemies, and all the procs that were stacked on every enemy in that wave goes out at the same time, so you're just multiplying it by itself over and over again.
Just watching it was absolutely glorious. Unfortunately, it has a downside. This downside is that requires a lot of computing, and you'd get 1 or 2 FPS whilst it was going off.
And in some cases, crash computer.
Yeah, you could crash people's computers. The good side of this is it was an incredibly quick way of getting lots and lots of Banshee weak points, which meant you were hitting lots and lots and lots of damage. Big numbers. So they fixed that, which was kind of annoying. And they also technically fixed the colour issues, where colours were showing up too bright. Has anyone else noticed this? Or
Yeah, I usually run with a orange, that dark orange from the Shamrock pack. So it used to, last time I played with her, it used to be like a white-ish center, like really close to white with an orange tint. And then it would be really bright, but the rest of it would be kind of that darker orange. And now it's just kind of a solid, kind of faded orange color.
I haven't noticed that personally, but I did learn something really cool. Do you guys know about legacy colors?
yes.
Okay, yeah, I learned that this week, that you can get a whole different palette and save them as well.
Yeah, no, I used to run white. I still run white on my Banshee because I like building snowmens and just having them covered in weak points, and it used to be a really, really nice bright white, and it's gone more to a grey. I think they've touched it slightly since I last played her, and I think it's a bit better than it was, but it's certainly a noticeable difference between the bright white that we had and
It's now to the point where if you're not paying attention, you hardly ever, like, you'll miss a weak spot a lot of the time because it's not noticeable at all.
I think what they've got to do is they've got to look at maybe creating a solid colour, maybe a slightly brighter solid colour, and just have where the weak point center is currently as that solid color. Because there are parts that are colored or were colored that if you shot didn't do any extra damage.
Yeah, because it had like a, I guess like a forced bloom on it, where you had the bright center point and then the color would radiate out. So it looked like a really big area, but only the center brightest part would be the part that gave you the damage.
So I think they might have to move to a solid color. Solid color seems like a smart choice to me. And just have it on that center point. But Banshee's still really good with resonance.
Yeah. Now 17.9, they brought out the Serrata, which is the infested themed like toxic glaive. Any thoughts on that? Because I personally don't really like it compared to the other glaives.
I haven't used it yet, but I mean, it looked kind of odd when it was folded up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I watched a few videos because research had finished when I last looked at it, and I've seen a few videos of it, and it looks like a proper melee weapon now rather than a thrown weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of nice because it means we've now got something that we can use those stances for, and those stances are quite nice.
Especially Astral Twilight.
So on the one hand, I'm sort of disappointed with it. It's a bit of a average weapon, but at the same time we get really nice stances, which...
Well, the biggest issue that I had with it is if it's supposed to be a glaive weapon, I would assume it would be very, very similar to the glaive and the glaive prime. In that it when you had it in quick melee and you threw it in quick melee, it would explode on the last bounce, just like the glaive prime in the glaive would. And from what I've done with testing, I haven't seen it explode like that. The only way that I can get it to explode is to actually equip it, then throw it, and then manually press fire or channel to get it to detonate, which for a quick melee throwing weapon, it's not great because a lot of the glaive's damage comes from that explosion, not the actual hit of the glaive itself. So for anybody that was interested in looking at it as a weapon that you could use for a paladin build for Trinity to damage yourself because of the toxin damage, it won't work unless they patch it in so it does explode, because you can't damage yourself with it. But as a normal melee weapon, just hitting stuff in the face with it, it's pretty good. I think I have 448 elemental on it currently, so it's decent there. It just doesn't have a lot of range.
Yeah, so I'm not a particularly massive fan of thrown weapons in general, so I've not particularly been in any rush to pick it up.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. It's another option, I suppose.
Yeah. Another downside to it is you can't kill nullifiers like you can with the Kestrel and the glaive with it, because it doesn't have that explosion. So, yeah, it's just kind of play style, I guess. I like to throw it more than hit stuff in the face.
So if we move on to the old Halloween.
Oh yes.
The return of the Day of the Dead skins. Hooray!
One of my favourite weapons got a Day of the Dead skin, which is the Opticore.
Yes, and it looks very good.
It does look absolutely fantastic, I will admit.
I got the Day of the Dead Vasto skins for the Ak Vastos. Those look beast.
I really like the Sindana. Not a fan of the cloak as much.
Yeah, I've been using the Vanquished or the Grenier Flag Sindana with the Day of the Dead skin, and I've been taking it and I'm making the entire base color black, and I would make the skull black as well, and then color just the vine designs on it the colors that I want, and that looks really good. The big skull on it makes it look a little bit weird, so I just make that the same color as the background, and you got these nice pinstripes on it.
I immediately purchased the Lisette and Mantis pack because those look great.
Those look really good as well. The Jacket Tag skin for Day of the Dead is freaking perfect, until of course Temple Guardian comes out, and then Sad Days for Day of the Dead.
Yeah, there are a few of them that looked a little odd. I think some of the swords don't look as good as some of the guns do.
I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but I don't like the Galatine skin, the Day of the Dead skin for the Galatine. I much rather have the Rubido plated one.
Uh, well, it works on some weapons, it doesn't on others. The one I always remember it on is the Soma, because I
Mhm.
have an all white Soma with black skulls and highlights, and that looks fantastic. Because if you have it as a bone white, it just fits the build perfectly on that weapon.
Mhm.
I
For
really
the
like,
regular Soma.
Yeah, for the regular Soma.
yeah, I really like the Boltor skin. That one looks quite nice.
What did they introduce? They did the Nikanas, the Opticore Kunai Akenbrunt, Boltor, the
Well,
Galatine.
there was 3 packs for it, right? And then the Lisette skins.
Yeah, because they
Hmm.
did the 2 previous years, I believe.
Mhm.
So they brought back the previous 2 packs, and those are the new ones.
What do you guys think
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
little bat shoulders?
They were out here last year. I like them as novelty. I don't really like the way if they sat more, I guess, pointing backwards more than out. I think I would like them a lot more. I
Yeah,
think they stick out to the side too much.
it felt like I was wearing them as a costume,
Yeah.
not part of
I-
my frame.
I've owned mine for a few years now, and I use them on Ember to get rid of the nasty Ember Prime shoulder pads, because I'm not a fan of that gold on there. So that's where I use mine, and they're fitting reasonably well.
Yeah.
And, so, what did you think of the Halloween event? Tactical alert that's on.
I didn't do it.
It's
still
still
haven't
on, you've
done
still
it.
got a few hours.
Nah, I don't think I'm going to.
It was fun. For the first round, it was fun. I kind of made a joke that they must have came up with like an event together. Like, hey, how can we make a really fun event? Well, let's take out everything that makes Warframe fun. But no, it was a fun little distraction. The second part where you have like the caches and a little bit more damage going on and less health, that was a little less fun. It kind of just seemed like everyone was just trying their best to avoid AoE and not insta die.
I quite like the mechanic of luring them onto the fire. I thought that was quite it's not something we tend to do, because it's
Yeah.
environmental kills are not what Warframe does. Warframe does, Warframe kills and weapon kills. And
Do you think maybe they'll be putting that into like a boss fight and this was their way of testing it out?
maybe I think in this instance, because it was just an Ember clone of her third ability, I think it was just a bit of fun. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a boss fight with elemental or environment kills. In fact, we've got it in the raid, haven't we? The raid's technically environment kills.
The new one?
No, the old one.
Oh, yeah. Well, the old one, you'd never really wanted to kill anything anyway, other than the G3 and the occasional manic.
Well, I mean, the boss, you kill the boss with the environment rather than
Oh,
actually
yeah.
punching them to death.
Yeah. Well, you keep weakening him, and then at the very end, then you shoot him to actually kill him. The actual like final boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shoot him to do the final kill, but you keep damaging him with the environment.
Yeah, no, it was a good bit of fun, I thought. Worth it for the potato. And speaking of raids, we got the new raid came out in 17.9.1.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I haven't done it yet, so I have to leave that to you guys.
I have, being someone that's always liked Darkwing, miles better than the original raid. It's so much more fun. This style of raid, it feels more like a raid and less like a headache, because the original raid was all about CC. It had puzzles and that kind of thing and teamwork, but it was don't kill anything, just keep everything locked down until you hit the final boss, and even still, let's keep everything locked down. With this new raid, it's kill everything. Like, if you see it, you can shoot it, might as well just kill it. There's 3 stages to it. First stage is Arcwing. Gotta move a spore through a bunch of hallways with doors you have to shoot to open them up, or else you have to restart it. You move the spore by hitting it with your melee weapon. The second stage is a elevator shaft. You have to stay inside these, I guess, oxygen bubbles that you make, or else your armor rating starts depleting. Once it hits 0, you start taking massive health damage really, really quickly. So trinities are a must, and basically you have to keep powering up these air bubbles and power cells to keep the elevator going all the way up. And then the third is similar to the Atlas. Actually, it has the Atlas boss farm in it. Basically, you have to take the same spores, put it on top of the boss. He'll open up his engine vents. You have to fly through and then solve a puzzle on the inside. And then he'll fly around, you shoot him, and he'll dock again. You have to do it 3 times. So it seems like a little bit quicker of a raid than before, which is nice because you can easily get a group together to do it because you're not going to be setting aside, a ton of time for newer members to kind of learn it. It's kind of just kill everything and you'll be kind of good. For new members, and old guys that have been running it a couple of times can easily do all the puzzles and that kind of thing to carry everybody through. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who doesn't necessarily love Arcwing, but will stand it, I thought the raid was a lot of fun. I would say that the mechanics with the puzzle and the floating spore, all that's really I think they figured out what makes Arcwing fun, and it's not so much just doing the same missions that we do on the ground, but it's doing other kind of co-op things together in that different environment that really works well.
Mm-hmm. And for those who haven't run it yet and don't really want to run it because it is Arcwing, only the first and third areas have Arcwing in them. The second stage you're on foot, and then half the time when you're solving the puzzles inside the engine rooms, you're on foot as well. So there's not a lot of Arcwing combat in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, the first time I ran it, I was only in a level 26 Odonata with the base machine gun weapon as well, which I forget the name of right now.
Imperator?
Yes, and I was able to do it no problem. I mean, obviously I didn't do much damage to the golem at the end, but most of it's just on ground, the actual combat. So
yeah, so Odonata will do it no problem. In terms of weapons, any melee works fine, and you want to get a long range primary. I was using the Growler the first time I did it, and it doesn't nearly have enough range to actually do any damage to the boss because he's so far away, or he's moving a lot faster than you are.
Yeah, I would say one thing that made me really happy about it was that there is now a raid Necros. That was a nice side effect of it, because it's nice to see Necros getting a little love in the raids, which I've been running.
A mag works really well for greedy pull to pull in some of the resources if you need to pick up those little green orbs to make the injectors for your next raid. Mag works really well in there, also as a CC frame with her crush. Saren also works really good as just an enemy clear to just kill a bunch of enemies really quickly. So it's not just a very specific setup like the old raid was. It has a lot more freedom. I still highly recommend a Blessing Trinity or a Paladin Trinity if you can build one, and an EV Trinity, especially because of the last stage where you have some people still sitting outside on Archwing, kind of keeping the boss kind of under control so he doesn't kill everybody that's on the inside trying to solve the puzzle. The Blessing Trinity or the Paladin Trinity on the inside can keep the people on Archwing outside alive. So those are really the only ones that I think are very necessary. Everything else you can kind of use whatever you want.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
So the emblem that looks quite nice.
Yeah, I really like it. Yeah, it's on my Trinity right now. It looks like it's a coin with one of the Corpus Factions logo on it, and it's being, I guess, engulfed with infested flesh. And you can, of course, change all the colors with your attachment colors and everything. So I went black, red, black, and yellow.
Yeah,
it looks really, really good.
Yeah, I was happy to get that. I didn't even know that was a reward at the end, so that was a nice surprise.
I think I might have to end up doing it just for that emblem, because it does look really quite nice.
And I do, of course, have to mention, since it did just come out, there are some fun little bugs involved. I think we hit a few last night.
We did.
There's also our favorite one, which is the fairy warframes.
Yeah, one of the transitions between the first and the second stage, there was a bug that would cause, it was a bunch of different issues, but they solved it by making everybody super tiny while they transition over, and then you jump off the archwing and go onto foot. So you get to mess around for a little bit. But sometimes, especially if you skip the cutscenes, which by the way, don't skip any of the cutscenes because it is causing it to bug right now. we've gotten anything from the first person glitch to Warframes that are now 6 inches tall running around, and they can't activate any of the things they need to, and they have to jump to hit enemies. They're so small. So don't skip cutscenes and enjoy some of the bugs because they're kind of funny most of the time.
Yeah, they'll get iron out soon, but yeah, there were some fun ones. I think the only really major one we had though was we made the golem somehow become completely unresponsive, so that kind
I
of
think
sucked.
that might have been. There was a couple of things that were probably causing it. One of our teammates died on the inside, and he didn't get purged out, so he was stuck inside, even though his character showed he was outside. The other one was I had my Kubro with me on that just to test to see if it would how well she would do with it, and that might have glitched it as well because she doesn't get purged back out. She gets stuck on the inside, so that also could be glitching it.
Yeah,
So,
because we were all reviving inside of the golem, which is pretty weird.
yeah, so if that happens, you have to abort, unfortunately, and you do lose the key.
Sounds like it's all fun and games.
Butterface had a weird one, which I don't even know what caused it. He was out in the Archwing between. We just completed the first stage of the boss fight, so the first nerve was destroyed, and we were going into the vents during the second stage, and he got lost and didn't know where to go, and it kicked him back into his Lisette with no warnings. So either he flew away from the mission too far, like outside the main like boss arena area, or he just got kicked for a connection issue or something. But watch out for that one as well.
I had an issue also the second time I ran it. At the very end, I went to check my damage, and for some reason, I think it tried to like end the mission at the same time, and I ended up just getting booted without a reward. So that was fun.
Yeah, but I mean, I ran mine first last night. It was a 48-minute run, and at the time when we completed it, it looked like the 14th fastest time completed. So, and since then, it's been blown away by a lot of people. So for a first-time runner, it's not going to take like an hour and a half, 2 hours like the first one did. It's pretty quick.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, even with the bugs, which will be worked out soon, it's a lot of fun, way more fun, I think, than the first raid. Even and if you don't like Archwing, just don't let it scare you away. Give it a chance.
Yeah, because especially if it is your first time doing the raid, you're usually on Archwing just going to be shooting buttons. You're not going to be in charge of like driving the spore or anything. So you're just going to sit there, shoot a couple mines so it doesn't blow up the spore, shoot the buttons when you need to, and then you'll be good to go. So it's not even that difficult.
So I guess speaking of the rewards, what do you guys think of the new arcanes?
I kind of like them. I could see some uses for some of them, but I'm still on the Grace and Guardian kick. I still really like those two.
I think one of them was a boost to glide when you shoot someone in the head. That was kind of interesting. I'm not sure where that would work in.
Yeah, I think Aegis would be really good if you had a Grace and an Aegis together. So if you put one on your Sandana and one on a helmet, especially for Chroma, because the Aegis gives you a when damaged a 60 seconds shield regen, or a 60 shield regen for 20 seconds. So that one would be really good in alongside a Grace, which when you get damaged, you get a health regen. So that one would be really good together.
60 shield regen per second's quite a lot. Because that's 1,200 shields over the 20 seconds.
Yeah, so that one on something that has a lot of shields and a lot of armor would be really good. So Frost would be awesome. Rhino, even though your iron skin shouldn't ever be down. And of course,
even on
Chroma.
something like Mag, though, something like that. It's just another nice little buffer.
Yep. I would probably even put it on Trinity, because you have such low shields when you're running. Like, because I use a blessing or a paladin Trinity most of the time. I would definitely put it on there. So when I do take my health down really low, if I do get hit, it's going to regen my shields. So it's going to be harder for me to go down by accident.
Yeah, so a few nice rewards for what is a reasonably nice raid.
And a lot of credits. I think with a credit booster, you pick up around 500,000 I think
Yeah.
around there. That's what it was looking like.
I think I was getting about right 520,000. I think each one.
So yeah, about 250,000 for anybody that doesn't have a credit booster.
It's pretty good. It's not bad.
And for not a whole lot of work either. It's definitely less work than the other one.
So, moving on slightly, there was the Affinity Amp has made a return.
Yeah, for a really short time.
Yeah.
They need
for
to
a
really
count.
just keep that in the game. That would be really useful. You can't
Well-
I mean, you could level stuff up faster, but you have to wait for formas anyway, so why not?
Well, that's because Affinity Amp did increase damage for everything as well as increased affinity.
Oh, that might be why.
It was a flat increase across the board. I believe there were a couple from when you could transmute every mod, even the
Mhm.
unreleased ones.
Yeah.
I believe there were a couple, but with 9.2 they've removed all of them and replaced them with legendary cores. So,
I still want the EMP one for reduced enemy robotic accuracy.
yeah.
That one would be hilarious.
Some of the unreleased auras, actually, I do really quite want them. They're
The resistance ones would be cool for all the different elemental resistance.
I think, yeah, I think they should throw them out there at some point, maybe. But
Get some more V polarity auras out there so we can use something other than steel charge without having to reformat it.
yeah, because steel charge these days isn't particularly useful either.
Nope. It just gives you the most capacity out of any of the auras. That's the only reason why I use it on a lot of stuff. It's just so I don't have to forma as much until I have an extra forma that I'm not using.
Maybe they could release things like the resistant auras as corrupted auras,
Mm-hmm.
because that's one thing we don't have.
Or a
Maybe-
raid, a rare raid drop.
Or a rare drop. I don't know, maybe like a 25% resistant to toxin damage or something, but you lose 5-10% shields. Something like that would be quite interesting.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. So devstream wasn't a whole lot, but something there, some cool
Yeah.
stuff.
A lot of recap. Like, I mean, we talked about the Mios. At least me and Bob. That looks really great. Looking forward to that.
Yeah,
That's
they
the
mentioned it
sword
should
whip
be-
one, right?
Yeah, that's a sword whip one. It should be released within the next week or so, is what they've clarified with this in the dev stream.
The Warframe Nexus app. Finally, I've had that thing on my phone for years, and I finally get to use it. But that one's been delayed, so hopefully next week.
Hopefully.
It could have been useful when my computer melted to put my Kuro in stasis
Right.
and manage my Foundry when I couldn't log in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the app. I know that they were also saying that a little after I think it's released, they're going to add in two-step authentication, which is going to be good for security. I think pretty much every section of your Lisette is going to be available from there for the most part.
Yeah. And if anybody from DE is listening, there is a Android app that somebody on the forums made called the Tano Marketplace, and it's basically a marketplace for trading in Warframe. You can't trade through the app, but it'd be really nice to see something like that implemented into that, so you can trade from your account, your inventory to another player through the app. So you don't have to be at your computer to buy and sell stuff until we get a real marketplace in game. Because right now the trade chat's just, it's not even comprehensible anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Ramus.
I think they're going to find it hard to strike a good balance with whatever they replace the trade system with, though. Because I think going full auction house is definitely not the right answer for this kind of game, but it does need something more structured than just spamming the chat as well.
Didn't they mention about being able to stand in the relays and go into a trading?
If they had a trading post at the relays,
Right.
it would be nice.
Well, it's not necessarily
Just-
a trading post. It's the fact that you can sit on a relay and trade in a relay. So whilst you're still spamming trading chat,
You could be
you
in the
don't have
relay
to
and
go
do
to
it.
the dojo.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I think that would definitely smooth things out if everybody sits on, what's the lowest relay? Mercury?
Yep.
Everybody probably will just end up sat on Mercury relay in a trading form there.
Yeah,
But
they were-
yeah, that Tenno Marketplace app, if there was something like that official for Warframe, or even just implementing his into there, because it works really well from what I've seen, other than being able, you can't trade through the app. But I've been using it for price checking because it seems to be a little bit more accurate than sitting in a trade chat forever.
And you have sites like Warframe.market, which are like
Mhm.
just getting hit with traffic every night now, and they got to be realizing that they're losing players' attention to these other sites, and they
Mhm.
can probably do it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a need for something for the trade, and I mean, from what it sounded like, they also thought though that there would be more of like you could set up a shop kind of in the relay as well. So maybe something where you can like put up what you have for sale, and some other people in the relay can view it. But who knows exactly what they mean by that? I think no matter what they do, there's going to be a lot of people with their own input on it.
I just think back to some of the older games where you camp out with your rug on the ground and you stall.
Yeah.
Fighting for the prime locations in your little square boxes.
Yeah,
It
so-
needs a revamp.
But yeah, at
Which-
least with the app update, we're going to be able to access our Foundry and Arsenal and Kubro and all that from our phones.
From work.
Yeah. It also looks really good. They did a good job with design.
So we got to see Siren being played with again.
Yeah. I think it's going to be different than the way Saren is played now. I think Awesome was a little bummed out about it, but if it turns out where you can get more damage out of her with this new way to play her, then awesome. If not, then I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the entire chat was pretty much going crazy saying "Rest in peace, Banshee" while she was playing.
Or you mean rest in peace, Saren?
I'm sorry, yeah, rest in peace, Saren.
Well, from what I was told, because the build that she had from it didn't really seem like a good build for a Saren anyway. So I wonder if the right build for it might be better.
Yeah, it was a one that was posted on the forum, so who knows?
Yeah. I don't play Saren too often, but Awesome said he's like, that build was terrible.
There are better builds, but I think the abilities are sort of set in stone now. I think it's just they're tweaking the numbers, and I like the fact that it's going to be far more synergy. It's not just going to be press 4 to win.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you got to put your procs on them, and then you press 4 to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mesa syndrome.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is the first time back I got to play with Mesa. 2 big thumbs up from me. Being a heavy Mesa player, I love that update to her Peacemaker.
The old no more sit there.
It's actually useful now. I could still use my full tank duration build and still use Peacemaker as long as I want to, if I need to clear out like a doorway or something.
Well, that's a double-edged sword. That's a change to Mesa, but it was also the introduction of channeled abilities being duration based, which has changed quite a few Warframes, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I think it's more fun this way. It allows you to do a little bit more stuff than have a specific efficiency build for that frame.
And it's done that again with a lot of frames.
Because I know for now, Mesa, now you could use all 4 abilities and be very good. And now with the same thing with Ember, it's a little bit more kind of aimed at more of the abilities than just one. So like focusing on one ability.
It's.
I mean, it's
think
also
that's what they're
now
gonna do with Siren as well.
Yeah.
Is rather than focusing on one ability, you get more than one.
Yeah, and now Excalibur I heard got a lot stronger if you're running if you're an Exalted Blader. I'm personally not, so I already had a duration build on him anyway.
Yeah, he's and Ember's come back.
Queen of Infested is back.
Well, she's queen of a lot of things now because if you put her World on Fire augment on,
Yeah.
because she just has such a ridiculous duration now, you can CC everything.
Yeah. I've seen her really shine in ODDs though. I've been running a lot of that recently. A good Speed Nova and Ember is pretty much all you need. Maybe a Trinity.
I got bored in the middle of defense, went downstairs and got myself a drink and a sandwich, and came back,
Yeah.
and I still had plenty of energy left.
I was
And it
playing with Valbin, and I just started doing, because we had an EV train, I just started making power strength and then just spam Tesla as much as I could all over the place to to do that, because I wasn't needed as a Bastille. And a lot of fun with the jump pads. So I think if you had a Banshee, though, a Soundquake Banshee in there, and a Speed Nova and a Ember, you can go through waves really, really quickly. And Banshee would act as like the net to catch everything, while Ember kind of destroys everything at the range of Soundquake.
as long as I haven't got a range build on Soundquake.
Yeah, I've been trying to mess with it, because right now my Banshee holds everybody in their spawns. Like, they don't even come into the main room. So I've had to shrink it down a little bit.
Oh, I was after the bugged Banshee we were talking about. There were a few forums
Resonance.
talking about her, and they were saying Soundquake needs changing, but
And how so?
well, just the fact that it's not really a great ability.
It's the best CC frame ever, because you can literally sit there and nothing can get inside that range for as long as you have that ability up. And now with the new efficiency, that's a long ass time.
Well, yeah, my argument is, well, you put maxed range on that, and there is no tile in the game which you cannot completely CC with her.
I think there's one on Phobos, the outside one with the satellite dishes on it. It's just barely bigger than it. But yeah, it's pretty much the entire tile.
You go mobile defense in Tower 4s, and that really annoying Colosseum-style room with the two tiers.
Yup.
Just CC the entirety of that, and it's
Yeah, I've been running a lot of mobile defense as well for prime parts. I think it was for the collar blueprint, the Tower for mobile defense. Just drop it in, go into Soundquake, and just AFK until the timer's up, because there's nothing in that room.
What'd you guys think about the combat responsiveness changes they were mentioning, like being able to shoot an enemy in the leg to make them stumble over, stuff like that?
Love it. Maiming enemies, that's always a plus in any video game.
Yeah.
more gore.
And then I was a little disappointed, but it sounds like the chat revamp won't be coming until U19.
Yeah, well, it's hopefully they do it right, and then they never have to touch it again.
Right.
Hey, my anti-serum injector just finished. Speaking of raid.
But yeah, no, chat, it's not. I think there are bigger fish to fry. It will be nice when it turns up, because chat's one of the older systems, but it'll come when it comes, and it'll be nice, and and it'll look pretty. A bit like the new Rhino skin.
Yes.
That Temple Guardian skin.
It looks cool. I'm sad I don't use Rhino. I'm probably still gonna get it just to have it, but I'm sad that I won't be able to use it too much.
Yeah, but hopefully we get a load of really cool skins out of the Steam Workshop.
Yeah, I'll most definitely be putting stuff up there. Being a big graphic artist, I'll definitely be putting stuff up there.
There's a lot of really cool stuff come out of it so far, but they got the first pass for that, I think, in a couple of days' time. So hopefully we should get some really cool stuff out of that.
Yeah, looking at a lot of the stuff in there right now. That armored Lisette skin looks really cool with the armor plating look on it. That, and there was somebody on Reddit that posted an Excalibur skin that looked like it was made out of quartz with gold kind of infused through it, like an actual rock, and it looked really, really good, almost like a pre-prime frame.
Yeah, I've seen a few skins posted already that are like complete remodels, not just like, graphic design, and some of them are really nice. So I guess we'll see if they start allowing more than just designs, if they actually are going to start pulling in anything other than I think they said they were going to allow one kind of weapon in for modeling.
Well, I think the issue they said with models is it's all got to be rigged properly.
Right.
And that then increases the amount of work that needs to be done on them from their end, which can cause issues. So I think they were saying they wanted just skins initially.
That Amp Volt skin that was put up the other day is really, really nice. It's like the white with the black tribal kind of markings on it.
But how will it look with my color scheme?
I'm not sure. With the white color scheme he has on it right now, it looks really cool. That's the other thing is I don't know, are they going to allow different recolors on those skins? Because they would have to go through and map color zones to all that stuff, like to be able to be changed in game. I guess it depends on how they're implementing those skins to be applied in game.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see next week. There wasn't too much with this dev stream because it was Halloween, wasn't it? So they had the old Halloween costumes. So I think rather than clutching at any more straws, we'll call it a day there, I think.
Sounds good.
So thank you for joining us. From me, British Bob, with Rat and Ramus. Thank you. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
See you guys.